Shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. And today I bring you a great word today. It's about a particular word that I came across on YouTube last night. And this Greek word is Sabaton. And the reason why this video will be done about this word, because there has been some false information given about the word Sabaton. You see, my people, Sabaton is a Greek word and it means weak. And you will see why this word, you will see why, you will see why we are discussing this word when we are looking at the King James 1611 Bible and the Sefer Bible. Okay. So let us look at what does the concordance tell us that about this word Sabaton. Okay, because I like to give you proof that this word Sabaton does mean weak. And it is a Greek word. It's not a Hebrew word, it's a Greek word. So my first witness is when I go to blueletterbible.org, we can see here the word Sabaton, and it is a Greek word.
Strong's G 4521. Sabaton. Sabaton.
And we see that this word can, mean for Sabbath day, Sabbath, and week. Now, I want to click on week, but before I do that, I want to read to you all the descriptions of this word. It said that this word is the Sabbath day of each week, which was a sacred festival on which the Israelites were required to abstain from all work. The institution of the Sabbath, the law for keeping holy every seventh day of the week. A single Sabbath day, or my people, it can mean 7 days a week. Do you see how this word can be used for more than one thing? And I'm going to click on this word week because we want to see how many times does Sabaton appear in the scriptures, which actually mean the word week. We can see it in Matthew chapter 28, verse 1, Mark chapter 16, verse 2, Mark chapter 16, verse 9, Luke chapter 18, verse 12, and Luke chapter 24, verse 1, and John chapter 20, verse 1. Now, this is very, very important. Also, I forgot to mention John chapter 20, verse 19, Acts chapter 20, verse 7, and 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 2. Okay, so this is the first witness. Let us go to another witness about this word Sabaton, which is a Greek word. And here, let's see here. Let me close this out so we can see this better. It has the same reference number, G4521. Okay. And it has the same definition that we just read, and it's letting you know how many times this word appears in the Bible when it's referenced to a week. Okay, pause your screen to look at that. And for the third witness, and this witness was BibleStudyTools.com, and the third witness is BibleHub.com. Okay, same reference number 4521. And short definition, it said the Sabbath a week. And the definition, the Sabbath a week. Now, I'm going to close this tab out. And I'm going to close this tab out. Okay. And I'm going to leave my blueletterbible.org tab it up. Okay. So now I have provided you with three witnesses. So you can see that this word Sabaton is a Greek word, and it can mean two things. It can mean the Sabbath day, or it can mean a week. Now, for those who have a copy of the Wycliffe Bible Dictionary, it gives a more insight about this word. And this Bible dictionary was edited by Charles F. Pfeiffer, Howard F. Voss, and John Ray. But check the video description box for the other information a reference to this Bible dictionary. And in this Bible dictionary, I want to blow this up so you can really see what was typed, because I want you to see this very well. Okay. In the Wycliffe Bible Dictionary, it says that the week in Hebrew, and I want to make sure I spell that word correctly. Let me look it up just to make sure, my people, because you know how it is when you type stuff, that you can mistype it. And excuse my phone again. Let's see, I'm almost there. Okay. Yes, I did leave a letter out. The Hebrew word for week is Sabua. It's spelled S-H-A-B-U-A. And I will have the correct spelling of this word in the video description box. And in Hebrew, it means a heptad of days, okay? Now, what this dictionary said about the word Sabbaton, and I'm going to read as quoted, it states that the period from the Sabbath to Sabbath in the New Testament is called a Sabbaton. Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. Which words derives from the Hebrew Sabbath, meaning rest, rather than Sheba, meaning 7. So what it's basically telling you, the Wycliffe Bible Dictionary, is that this word Sabbaton, a Greek word, came from the Hebrew word Sabbath, okay, instead of Sheba, okay? But it actually means a period from Sabbath to Sabbath. So now you see why that second definition of the word Sabbaton does mean week. And you're probably saying, why I'm bringing this out? Because when I came across this information, the person was stating that the King James 1611 Bible was inaccurate of when Mary and the other people came to the scepter of Christ. They were saying that it was not the beginning of the week, and that it has something to do with the Roman Catholic Church. However, I'm going to stress this again. It is very important that we understand the English language. And then it's very important that we go back into the Greek and understand the Greek language of what it means. Okay? Because this person here didn't do further research to see that this word Sabbaton does also mean a week. Okay? And I understand why that person would make that claim, because there's another mystery that that person is probably not aware of, okay? And I don't want to mention that person's name or know that person's video, because it's not about that person. It's just about getting the correct interpretation of this Greek word, which is Sabbaton, okay? So that's the purpose of this video, all right? It's for edification. Now, we do have confirmation in the New Testament to confirm what I'm telling you, my people. And you have to go back and write out the timeline when Christ was crucified to the day he was resurrected. Okay? So let us look at that now. So we know definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, everyone can agree that Yahushua HaMashiach was crucified on Passover Day. And Passover Day is also known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That is also confirmed in the work of Josephus and in the King James 1611. Now, we do know Passover starts at evening, which is sundown. That's very important to know, because the Pharisees that you read about in the gospel kept Passover during the daylight hours. They didn't follow Torah. Read Exodus chapter 12 and Deuteronomy chapter 16 for the laws and the ordinances that was given to Israel on how to keep Passover. Another sign on this day that we have to look at is when the cock crow thrice. That is letting you know that morning is coming in. And the proof of that can be found in Matthew chapter 26, Mark chapter 14, Luke chapter 22, and John chapter 18. Because my people, by morning, Yahushua HaMashiach was put in the hands of Pontius Pilate, and Pontius was in his judgment hall. So that was the place where Christ was taken. This is very important because it's confirming you that the Passover that Christ kept started at sundown. Then you had night. Then you have morning to come. And by that time, he was turned over to Pontius Pilate, and they was in his judgment hall. Now, just a little FYI about Pontius Pilate judgment hall. They have found the ancient ruins of that. And today it can be found in modern day Jerusalem in the area that they call the City of David. Okay. This is also an ancient location of where King Herod built his palace there. So that's something you can do a further research on about that. All right. For proof and confirmation that Christ was delivered into the hands of Pontius and that it was around morning time, read Matthew chapter 27, Mark chapter 15, verse 1, Luke chapter 22, verse 66, and John chapter 18, verse 29. Now, here's another important thing we need to mention that happened on Abib 14. There was darkness that occurred from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. And the only way this darkness could last this long, my people, is when you have a total lunar eclipse, which is known as a central lunar eclipse. And I want to make this known because I know I'm aware of the false information that's been going out there. This was not a solar eclipse, my people. This was a lunar eclipse, and there have been ancient historians of Romans and Greeks that has written about this account to confirm to you it happened on a full moon day. All right. And that video link will be placed in the description box. But I want you to kind of stand about Hebrew time. Remember, our people didn't have computers or watches or minutes or seconds. They used the heavens or sundown. So this is why I list for you that the 6th hour, which we know is 12 noon, is from 12 o'clock to 12:59. So if you start from 12 o'clock to 12:59, you get a total of 60 minutes. And we know 60 minutes makes 1 hour. So from the 6th hour to the 9th hour, I know most of us will subtract 6 from 9, we say 3 hours. But the Most High made me realize that, hey, remember, the Hebrew Israelite time was way different from the way we keep time. So they didn't have minutes or seconds. So when it said from the 6th hour to the 9th hour, it could have been 12:15 to 3:15. Or it could have been from 12:45 to 3:45. Do you see where I'm going with this? And the reason why I mentioned this because there are records of a lunar eclipse occurring in 32 AD. And 32 AD, from my research, my people, and from a confirmation that the Most High has given unto me, was the year when Christ was crucified. And that video link will be in the description box so you can look at that information that the Most High has shared with me, and you can do a further research on that. Okay, so I just want to get back on track. So I want you to keep that in mind when it said from the 6th hour to the 9th hour, because remember, they look at the heavens and you can look at the position of the sun in the sky and determine what time of day it is. See, a lot of people don't even know that. Even Christ can give you an example of that. When he talked to the Pharisees about, can ye not discern the signs of the times? That's in the book of Matthew and in the book of Luke. Do a word search. Can ye discern the signs of the times? And you will see that our people did look at the heavens to determine, what kind of weather they would have. Also, what time it is. They didn't have clocks and watches and calendars on papers. Okay. Now, another important thing we need to know about Abib 14 is, that it's a holy convocation day. This is very important to know because it may be a little confusion about this day. And you will understand as we talk further in this video. See, Abib 14 is a holy convocation day. And what that means is a day of rest. It was a holy day because it was the Passover day, and the Most High did not want his people to work on this holy day. You can read about this in Leviticus chapter 23, Numbers chapter 28 to 29, Deuteronomy chapter 16, and Exodus chapter 12. Because all of them have a piece to the puzzle to give you understanding what days during the Feast of Unleavened Bread is a day of rest and what days are not. It's very important to know this. So on Abib 14, it is the first day of the unleavened bread, and it's a day of rest. Okay. Then on Abib the 21st day, and the Bible used to classify that as the seventh day, because after Passover, for the next 7 days, we are to eat unleavened bread. And FYI, we also ate unleavened bread on Passover day. Okay. So the Abib 21st is the last day of this holy solemn feast day. And it's also a day of rest. So we rest on Abib 14th and we rest on Abib 21st. Read Exodus chapter 12 and Leviticus chapter 23. Also, this is another thing that people don't know about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It is a solemn feast day. Now, solemn feast day are 3 feasts that we keep throughout the year that pertains to a harvest and feasting. Okay, read 2 Chronicles chapter 8 verse 13 and Deuteronomy chapter 16, and you will see the connection of why we have 3 solemn feasts every year that pertains to harvesting, dealing with our crops, and to at the end of our harvesting we have a feast. Okay, also pertain to Abib 14th on this day. You notice that his disciples had to quickly bury Yahushua HaMashiach in his own new tomb. A lot of people are not aware that wherever his body was kept, he was placed in a certain area. But until one of his disciples asked for his bodies, then he was placed in his own new tomb. An example of that can be found in Matthew chapter 27, verse 60. Now, here's another thing, very important thing about Abib 14 that people do not understand about this day. Okay, and I want to bring this up so you can really see it. Abib 14 is also classified as the day of preparation. Now, the day of preparation means it is the day before the Sabbath day. It is the day before the 7th day of the week. And during the days of Christ, during the time when he was crucified, the Sabbath day fell on Abib 15th, my people. Okay? So, when you read Exodus chapter 16, we'll give you an excellent example on why the 14th of Abib was labeled the preparation day. Because in that chapter, when they got to their location, it was in the 2nd month and on the 15th day. And then on the 16th day, that means the evening that is between the 15th day and the 16th day, they had quails. And then on the 16th day in the morning, they had manna. And then on the 22nd day of the 2nd month, they kept the Sabbath for the very first time. See, my people, this is the day when Israel officially kept this Sabbath day, known as the 7th day, because they were made holy and sanctified to keep it. That's a mystery behind that, my people. And this is why Israel is called firstborn, when you understand that mystery. When you have some time, read the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, and Ben Sirach, which is known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33, to understand this. And there will be a video in the description box to give you more understanding about the mystery of the Sabbath and to give you understanding why Israel is called the firstborn. Okay, but let us get back focused on why the Abib 14 was called the preparation day. And here's the proof and the confirmation. When you read Matthew chapter 27, verse 62, it said here, now the next day that followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate. So you need to ask, what was the day that followed the next day? It was Abib 14. Now we're going to read Mark chapter 15, verse 42, but we're going to read that later on. But let us read Luke chapter 23, verse 50 to give you more proof of what I'm telling you about this being the preparation day, and also showing you why the disciples had to bear Christ quickly. Okay. Luke chapter 23, verse 50. And behold, there was a man named Joseph, a counselor, and he was a good man and a just. The same had not consent to the counsel and deed of them. He was of Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who also himself waited for the kingdom of Yahuwah. So this verse right here is telling us that he wasn't a part of the Pharisees and scribes. See, he was a righteous and a just man. Now let us read verse 52. This man went to Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua. And he took it down and wrapped it in linen and laid it in a sepulchre that was hewn in stone, wherein never man before was laid. And that day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on. Now, this verse is telling you a lot. It is giving you the confirmation that he was buried on the 14th day of Abib, and that the 14th day of Abib was the preparation day, and the Sabbath drew on. And we're going to talk more about that in the next section, okay? Now, I do want to mention that in John chapter 19, verse 13, that is not talking about Abib as being the preparation day. That's talking about something else. See, that's talking about the preparation of the Passover that the Pharisees kept according to their standards. See, the Pharisees, my people, didn't follow Torah as written completely. Okay, this is why they kept Passover during the daylight time. So that is found in John chapter 19, verse 13. But now we're going to read John chapter 19, verse 31. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. So when you read Leviticus chapter 23, the word Holy Convocation Day can be exchanged for the word Sabbath, because Sabbath have two meanings. It can mean a day of rest, or it can mean the seventh day of the week. Okay, this is why it's so important that we take our time and we read each word that is written in English, because when we read too fast, we can overlook something, okay? Remember that precept, line upon line? So we take our time. So here, when it said the Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation. So what was the preparation? Abib 14 was the preparation day. And on that day, a body cannot remain on the cross because it was a holy day. It was a day of rest. It was a sanctified day, a set apart day. That's why they called the Sabbath a high day, because it was holy and sanctified and set apart. It was a day ordained by the Most High. Read Ben Sirach chapter 33 and you'll see what I mean. So when you understand Torah, you will know this as well in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 23. And it states that, and if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is a curse of the Most High, and that thou land be not defiled, which the Most High that Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. Do you see why this is very important for us to read this? Take our time, because now I'm seeing a big piece that's going along with John chapter 19, verse 31. You see, the cross that Christ was on was made of a tree, right? Now we know he was put to death for the unrighteous of my people. They was the one who turned him over to the Gentiles, and they was the one that was responsible for his death. Okay? So he was innocent. An innocent man was killed. All right? However, according to Torah, his body cannot remain on the tree all night. All right? And he has to be buried that day. So he has to be buried within that same day. Now, do you see how this all relates? Okay? Now, let us read John chapter 19, verse 38. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's almost saying the same thing. Well, actually, I am, because it mentioned a new little piece of information here. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahushua, but secretly for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahushua. And Pilate gave him leave. He came that forth and took the body of Yahushua. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yahushua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and olives, about an 100-pound weight. Then took they the body of Yahushua, and wound it in linen cloths with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid. There laid they Yahushua therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was nigh at hand. So again, what was the preparation day? Abib 14. And it was a holy day. And he had to be buried that day. And the area that was near unto them was the sepulchre, because look at this key word, nigh at hand, which means near. Now, to understand why the Most High would allow them to bury his son on a holy day, again, a lot of people do not understand the mystery of the Sabbath. I highly recommend that you read the book of Tobit. That'll give you some insight. Understand, also look at the gospel when Christ gave the mystery of the Sabbath and pertaining to the pit and pertaining to the workday. Okay. And also read Isaiah chapter 56, verse 2 and Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 18, because on all the holy days that the Most High has given unto us, we are to do no evil on those days. That's our new moon days, our Sabbath day, which I'm talking about the 7th day of the week, the 3 solemn feast days, and any other day that has been sanctified and holy unto the Most High. Okay? All right. So I had already mentioned that I'm going to put the link of the video for Firstborn in the description box. So this part is a repeat of the Holy Convocation Day, which we already discussed. So now when we look at Abib 14, again, it was the preparation day. Therefore, this is why they had to bury him quickly on that day. So that way the land would not be defiled. And it was a day of rest. Okay. Now let's look at Abib 15. Now the Abib 15 during the days of Christ was the Sabbath day. The 7th day of the week. Okay. Now we already discussed about reading Ben Sirach chapter 33. And we already discussed that this is a high holy day too. Okay. Now when we read Mark chapter 15 verse 42, it states that, and now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath. Do you see that? So we have confirmation in Mark chapter 15 verse 42 that Abib 15 was the 7th day of the week, and it was a holy day. Also, when you go back, and I highly recommend that you do this, take all these scriptures that we're going now and paste them and put them together, and you can see the pieces of the puzzle. Okay? Because even in Luke chapter 23, verse 50 through 54, we can see the confirmation and how we're getting proof what day was what day. All right? So let's go back to Abib 15. So in Mark chapter 15, verse 42, even was come, that means it was sundown on Abib 14, sundown. Okay, so that day was ending out, and a new day was coming in. And that new day that was coming in was the 7th day of the week, right? Now the next verse we have also read to give us confirmation was in Matthew chapter 27, verse 62. For Abib 15 was the next day. It was the day that followeth the day of preparation. Do you see how it's important to read all 4 books of the gospel and to take these pieces of the puzzles to put them together to understand what was really going on? Okay. And that's how the whole Bible is written from beginning to end. You can't just run with one scripture or one chapter. You have to do a thorough research, my people, and look at all the scriptures that pertains to that particular scripture or to that particular topic to see the whole picture. All right. Which now brings us to Abib 16. Now this is very important because the Most High always give us a sign. He always give us a carnal representation with a spiritual representation so we can get understanding because we are in the flesh. All right. Now, Abib 16 is the first day of the week, and it is the day of the sheaf weight offering. So in the days of Christ, okay, following way after his crucifixion, Abib 16 was the first day of the week, and it was the day of the sheaf weight offering day. Now you probably say, what is that? When you read Leviticus chapter 23, you will learn that the sheaf weight offering day is the first fruits of the barley harvest. That is the day they bring the Omer offering unto the high priest as an offering unto the Most High. See, they couldn't gather those crops in until that Omer is offered to the high priest. That's very important. Also, in the works of Josephus, we confirm to you that Abib 16 is the sheaf weight offering day. It is the day of the first fruits of the barley harvest. You can find it in Antiquities, Book 3, Book 3, Chapter 10, verse 5. And check the description box for the link access to that chapter. Okay, and you will see it there. Also, my Wycliffe Bible Dictionary also confirms to me that Abib 16 is the first fruits of the barley harvest, okay? And that's found in the section labeled calendar on page 288 and in the section labeled festivals on page 603 for those who have a copy of that book, okay? Now, we have a kind of representation, first fruits, all right? Because it's a spiritual meaning behind that. And that spiritual meaning is Yahushua HaMashiach represents the first fruits of the resurrection, for he is the firstborn of the resurrection. Now, that's a deeper mystery behind this too, my people, that many do not understand. See, he was fully regenerated like the first Adam. You see, they couldn't find his body, and it was a reason for that. Because, see, when you look at the history of the first Adam, you learn about his body, you will begin to learn the true nature of what his body was before he fell. You see, he was made up of an earthy vessel. He had a soul, and he had the spirit of the Most High in him. Those was the 3 components of Adam. And because he had these 3 components, he shone like a bright white light. He was white as snow and shine as the sun. His light was white as snow, and he shone as the sun. Let me say that correctly. Adam's light was white as snow, and as the sun shined. Now you probably say, well, what is Sister Yida talking about? Well, you know me, I have a video for you so you can get understanding. But also the scripture talks about this as well. Okay? When you think about it, remember when Christ met the disciples, it was a reason why he asked them to give him something to eat and drink. He wanted to prove to them that he has been fully regenerated, okay? That he has been reborn, not reborn. He has been the firstborn of being fully regenerated. And to understand that mystery about what does it mean to be regenerated, you need to read Luke chapter 20, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, Matthew chapter 19, verse 27 through 30, John chapter 3, First Adam and Eve, chapter 2, chapter 8, chapters 12 to 14, and chapter 67. Okay? And the reason why I'm telling you to read this, because you need to understand the glorified body that Adam and Eve possessed before they became flesh. That's a great mystery that many do not understand. So I'm going to put these videos in the description box. The videos are the King James 1611 Almanac, because Facebook has tried to restrict that post, and it's for a reason, my people. They don't want you to know the truth. Also, the video that deals with the mystery of the Sabbath, the video that deals with the firstborn, which also dealing with first fruits, okay? And the video that deals with the light, okay? White as snow, and as the sun shine, pertaining to the nature of Adam. Now, in that title, you might see Noah, Moses, and Christ, I believe. You may see something added else to that title, but it's saying the same thing. Just click on this link in the video description box, and you will see the mystery that the Most High shared with me about the true nature of Adam and Eve bodies before they fell. Okay, now here's a photo of the 3 days and 3 nights, and I want to really blow this up, okay, so you can see this. Okay. Starting from the top. Now, to understand the mystery about the 3 days and 3 nights, a lot of people are trying to fit this in a Gregorian calendar format. You cannot do that. You need to go back and study the Most High calendar. That's a great mystery, and which we discuss in another video, okay? But Yahushua was in Sheol for 3 days and 3 nights. And Sheol is also called hell, the grave, or the pit, okay? And Sheol is located in the heart of the earth. And you can read about that in Matthew chapter 12, verse 40, with Jonah chapter, with the book of Jonah chapter 1, verse 17. Now, those who are not aware of this, he went to Sheol to set the souls free. Okay, that is confirmed in the book of Ephesians. And let me give you that chapter so you can have it. And also it's confirmed in the Old Testament as well. It's confirmed in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 8 through 10. The book of Psalms chapter 68, verse 18. And also 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18 through 20. That is the proof that he did go to Sheol to set those souls free, the captives free. Okay, so in the days of Christ, I'm going to bring this down now. So in the days of Christ, we have Abib 14th being the 6th day of the week, and that was the first day of Passover. Okay, and there was a lunar eclipse which brought on the darkness from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. Okay, and somewhere in the 9th hour, that's when Yahushua died. Okay, so all of this took place in the first day, which is Abib 14th, which is the 6th day of the week. And in that day, he was buried in a new tomb. He had to be buried that day. Then we get to the Sabbath day, which is the 7th day of the week. That fell on Abib 15th, which is the 2nd day. Okay, so we have a night and a day here. And I forgot to mention, in the first day, you have a night and a day of him being in Sheol. Remember, Sheol. Okay. Then, dealing with the first day of the week, it fell on Abib 16. And that was the third day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now, when you read Josephus, it's because the way they translate it can be worded differently. A lot of times they would separate Passover from the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So you would see them say Passover, then first day of unleavened bread, second day, so forth. But in another passage, he would say Passover is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So this is why you need to understand that the Feast of Unleavened Bread is kept from Abib 14th to Abib the 21st, which is confirmed in Exodus chapter 12. Okay? Now, this is why it's so important. When you look at the scriptures, it's giving you a time and an idea when was Christ resurrected? And when it said before the rising of the sun, it's talking about the dawn phase. It is not talking about Sunday worship. It's talking about giving you a time in the day when he rose. Because see, Mary and them did not get there until at the rising of the sun. Take some time to go out and observe the heavens. When you go out and you watch the night leaving and the daylight coming in, you will know there's a period of time when you just have daylight and the sun has not risen yet. That was the time when Christ rose from the grave. So by the time Mary and them got to his grave, he was gone and the sun was rising. All right. This is why it's so important to take your time and to read the King James 1611 Bible. I just want to emphasize first day was Abib 14th. Second day was Abib 15th. And third day was Abib 16th, which is the first fruits of the barley harvest, which makes sense. He has to risen on Abib 16th, and he still fulfilled the 3 days and 3 nights in Sheol. Remember, those ram times are different from our times, number one. And another example that any portion of that day counts. When you look at Moses being on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, you will learn in the scriptures that he went on Mount Sinai after the morning activities during daylight. And then he came off the mountain at night. So even though he didn't start being in Mount Sinai at the beginning of the day, see, he came in the mid part of the daylight, it still counts. So you got to understand the Most High time. It's a great mystery behind this. So now we're going to talk about the King James 1611 and the Sefer Bible. Now, I'm not against the Sefer Bible because I heard a lot of good things about it. And I have not had a chance to purchase it or to really look at it. But with some of the things that this person was sharing about it, it sends some alarms. Okay. And we'll talk about those alarms of what that person said. All right. But let's first discuss the King James 1611 Bible. And I want to show this to you. No, wait. We are aware that there is errors in this book. We're aware of that, my people, because the precepts that are listed in the King James 1611 reveal the truth regarding to the name, regarding to Easter, regarding to the incorrect number in 1 Kings chapter 6 when they said that they was out of Egypt for 480 years. We know that's not correct. And regarding to the missing scriptures, because I have a copy of this book, my people. And I'm telling you, this book is on point. When it refers me to passages dealing with the book of Isaiah, and when I go there, it's not there. So I already knew that the enemy had taken some scriptures out. Okay. And then one of my sisters gave me more proof of some other scriptures they had taken out of the Apocrypha. And I'm not talking about Maccabees 3 and 4. I'm talking about something else. So through the precepts of the King James 1611, when I would go there, when it tells me to go there, I couldn't actually, okay, when I went there, the scripture did not exist at all. And I said, well, let me read up higher just to make sure it wasn't a misprint, because sometimes It could be a misprint, and it's actually the verse up higher or the verse lower. And I'm telling my people, that was not the case. So this same book will reveal the truth that the enemy did go in there and they did some slight tampering. But through the powers of the Most High, through this same book, his truth can still be revealed. Now, I want to show you first this picture here, okay? They even had his name in modern Hebrew. It's there, okay? I want to show you that one. Also, they have it. Oh, I can't blow that up. But those who have a copy of the 1611, you have a copy of this page too. His name is also shown in the Hebrew as well. So it's there. Okay. That's one clue. See how the Most High works? Let me show you another clue. When you go to the King James 1611 site, it allows you to have access to the actual copy of the word. Okay? So you will click on this picture here. And when you click on that picture, my people, it gives you the summary of each chapter. And the reason why it does it, so you won't misinterpret what the chapter is telling you, because there are some chapters that are giving you an analogy. And a great example of that is in the Songs of Solomon. That whole book is talking about analogy. It's not talking about a man and woman. It's talking about Christ and the church known as the bride. Okay. But also, what I like about this site, because it's free, it gives you the precept. So if it's a precept that pertain to this verse, or if it's a Hebrew word that you need to know, or a meaning of a word you need to know, you just click on that little number right there and it give it to you. Also, you have a picture of this book. And if this picture is not good for you, you can even click on this picture right here to really get it blown up to see it. So we have no excuse, my people. Okay? Now, another thing I want to point out, when we read English, we know English is very vague, and we know that the English words can have more than one meaning. It's not direct like the Hebrew. So we already know we got to go back to the original language and look up some of these words to understand what the scripture is telling us. But another thing I want to point out that's in this same book, when the Most High had me to study the timeline creation to know what day we are in, he let me know that this was wrong. Let me tell you how he let me know, through the word. Because when you read the book of Acts, you know that in the time of the judges, it was at least 450 years. So when you look at the time that they were out of Egypt to the time of when they had no rulers or kings, they only had judges, to the time when they had the prophet Samuel, to the time when they had King Saul, King David, and King Solomon, I already knew it was more than 480 years. And the book of Acts even confirmed it, because the book of Acts tell you that the year of the judges was 450 years. Again, this same book will show you the errors. Okay? All right? Also, with the name, let me tell you, this same book will give you more clues about how his name is spelled. For those who study the Hebrew, when you go back and study the word Hosea, you learn that it's salvation. When you go back and look at the word Jesus, we know that word don't really translate back into the correct Hebrew, okay? But most people will associate this word with Yeshua. But when you look at the meaning of Yeshua, it means he is saved. So therefore, it won't relate to Christ's name, because that's not what Christ is about. See, Hebrew words have meanings, and it's for a reason, okay? It's letting you know what that person is and what that person's about, okay? So when you look at the word Yahushua, you can trace this, because it ties back into the name Joshua, and that evidence and proof can be found in Numbers chapter 13, verse 16, 1 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 27, and Hebrews chapter 4, verse 8. And also the book of Maccabees will show you that this word that they use Jesus in there, when you look at the precepts, it goes back to Joshua. Okay. And the Hebrew accordance for that is H3091. So that's another proof that we can get his son name. And that name means Yahushua. It means salvation is Yahuwah, or it means I am he who saves or he who delivers. So when you read the book of Luke and Matthew, that's what his name means. He said, I come in my Father's name, and he is the salvation of Yahuwah. It's there in the scriptures. Read the book of Luke and Matthew again and you will see it. Also, you will learn that Yahu, which means I am he, is evidence of his name too. And then you can understand why I would say I am he who saves or I am he who delivers. That's the meaning of Christ's name. Because when I looked it up in my concordance online, they would not translate it. Go to Isaiah chapter 41 verse 4. They would not translate it, but we got more proof. When you go to 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 1 and 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 3, we see how Elijah and Obadiah name is spelled. And look, they got Yahoo in his name. In their name, which means I am he. More proof. Then when we go to the book of Psalms, chapter 68, verse 4, we see his other name, which is Yah, which means the same. So, and then we have the Hebrew alphabet listed in Psalms 119. What I'm telling you is that the Most High left us clues. All we have to do is seek him and read and study his word, and he will reveal these mysteries to us. Whether you have the King James 16, what I'm about to say. When you have that 1611, you still can't go wrong. That's what I'm saying to you. Because there's clues in that book that will lead you to his truth. That's what I'm saying to you. So don't put that book down. Don't put it away. And it's a reason for that. Also, when you look at the name Judah will give you evidence of how his name is spelled, because Judah means praise Yahuwah. H363. When you look at Exodus chapter 6, I believe, it gives you his name in English. But when you translate it back into the Hebrew and you know what letter represent what letter in the Hebrew, you can still get his name. So don't allow the doctrine of men to deter you from the 1611 Bible, because it's a reason for that, because it's a prophecy that pertains to that 1611 Bible. Okay. And this will, let me see, if I have room, I tell you what, pause your screen to get this information now, because I probably won't have room in the video description box to list this. And pause your screen to get that part of the information. Now, here's the prophecy about this King James 1611, about this language. He told us he would speak to us in another tongue. He knew the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28. He knew the enemy would strip us of our language. He knew that they would teach us of their ways and give us their books. He knew they would tamper with the 1611, but he had things set up and ordained where you would still get his truth. Read Isaiah 28 verse 10 through 11 and 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 21. For it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, 21, in the law it is written, with men of other tongues and other lips will I speak unto this people, and yet for all that will they not hear me, saith Yahuwah. So he already told us he's going to speak to us in another language, because he already knew what the enemy going to do. Another prophecy that pertains to the 1611 Bible, he said that the gospel must first be published to all nations. And you go back to Torah in Deuteronomy chapter 17, this is why King James, who was a Hebrew Israelite, a Negro, translated the Holy Scriptures into the book that we call the Bible. Okay? Also notice, do they offer us free copies of the King James 1611? And you'll see why I asked you this question. Keep that in mind. See, they want to keep us out of this book, but they want us to look at other books. And it's a reason for that, my people. Beware. Another proof of evidence of what the King James 1611 Bible was showing me when I would go to the precepts, when it tell me to go there and they're not there. It's in 2nd Ezra chapter 7. My sister gave me this link here because in this book was the missing scriptures they took out in 2nd Ezra chapter 7. And this link would be in the video description box. Okay? So you can have. But through the 1611, it already told me. I already knew they took some things out. Do you see where I'm going with this? And they even did this with the work of Josephus, because when I have a copy of it, and with me, I like to read everything, the fine print, the stuff in the back. And when I was reading the information in the back of the book, it was letting me know that when they was making copies of it and comparing past copies of the work of Josephus, they know there was some numbers not the same. They even did that with the description of Christ. My sister had testified to me to let me know that there was a description of Christ being a Negro that they took out. So this is what I'm telling you. Throughout all our books, the Gentiles published them in their language. And you're going to need the Most High to help you to discern what is truth. And he gave us that 1611 Bible as your foundation to use against the other books. But the problem is we do not understand English nor grammar. We don't understand the punctuations. And if you don't take the time out to understand that, then you won't understand what the scriptures are truly saying to you. And then you will give a misinterpretation, which brings us to the Cepher Bible. Okay. So when I was listening to that person that was giving some information about the Cepher Bible, these are some things I want you to pay attention. For my understanding, I hear a lot of good things about it, but here's the problem. We are not aware of the errors in this book. No one has taken the time to go through that book from beginning to end. Okay? That's number one. Number two, we do not have access to the original scrolls, nor to the books that they use for the translation. And a good example of this, they use a Greek word, Sabbaton, in that book. Okay? That person also said that it was written by the Jewish people. And I put question, because I was trying to research this and see, was that true? So I'm still researching that, my people. But that person did say it was written by the Jewish people, which should throw some red flags to you. Okay? Also, they did offer this book as free copies. And that's what I meant. You don't see nobody offer us the 1611 free copies. It's a reason behind that. You got to pay attention. So am I telling you, should you get this book? I recommend those who are seasoned and well grounded in the 1611, because you will have the discernment of if this book is true or not. Okay? Because how Satan works is he gives you a lot of truth, but then they sliver some lies in there. Okay? But for my babes, I recommend that you start with the King James 611 first. Then also read the other hidden books such as Jubilees, 1st and 2nd Enoch, Jasper, 1st and 2nd Adam and Eve. Okay? But make sure you have a strong, good understanding of your 1611. Now, this person who wrote or who is the founder of the Cepher Bible, from my understanding so far, he is a Gentile. And I'm going to be honest, it throws some, not him being a Gentile through red flags. It's his bio, his life history. It is very hard to find any information about this guy, which is very scary and dangerous. Okay? And I'm going to show you why. Very little can be found about him. So I'm going to share with you these links of what I have found about him. Okay? Oh yeah, this is it. This is all the videos. But this guy here, I don't know if he has any kinship with the Ashkenazi Jews, okay, or with the Jewish people. I do know he was an attorney general and an attorney general one time. He's also an attorney. He's also a political scientist, a Bible scholar, a constitutional scholar. And from this site, which will be in your video description box, it says that he is a business executive and attorney and former Republican candidate for Attorney General of Washington. Pidgeon lost in the primary election on August 7, 2012 to King County Councilman Regan Dunn and Bob Ferguson. But when you try to get a bio on this guy, it's very little information. So this is why I said it draws red flags to me. Just be careful, my people. Okay? And this brings us to this. Please beware of those who tell you to put away the King James 611. It's a reason for that. I'm going to be honest, my people. Having a copy of this book eliminates a lot of confusion. It eliminates all the false doctrines that Hebrew Israelites and Gentiles were putting out. I ain't saying all of them. I'm talking about the ones I came across. It eliminated all them false doctrines. It really let me see who they truly are. And you have to understand the children of Satan comes in many different forms, shapes, sizes, and colors. Okay? This is about spirit now, my people, and this is serious. And their goal is to take you away from serving the Most High as commanded in the Word. That's their goal. So when they come to you about books to buy, or if they come to you about books to read, look at their motive. What is their true motive? Because see, the Most High can see their heart. You can't. You only see the outward appearance. So you may get fooled by their good deeds. You may get fooled by their powers, if they have any. You may get fooled by how well they speak. Okay. So those are the things on the outward, but you can't see that spiritual heart. You can't see whom they truly serve. So this is where you have to ask the Most High, give you spiritual discernment. So look at their motive. Is it for profit? Is it to get honor and glory among mankind? Is it to keep you in confusion? Or is it to keep you dependent on them to get understanding the word? And the word tells us that it is the spirit of the Most High that shall teach you, not man. And the mystery behind that is when he tells the wife to be in subjection to the husband, it's a spiritual mystery. When you read, I believe it's 1 Peter chapter 3, you will learn that it is the spirit of Christ that's in her that wins her husband over to her conversation, and that wins her husband over to the word. And you can read that again in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 5. Also, when you read Ephesians chapter 5, this is why it tells us in the body of Christ to submit ourselves to one another, because it has nothing to do with flesh. It has to do with the spirit of Christ in each other, or the spirit of the Most High in each other. That's whom you're submitting to. This is why you have Deborah to be a judge in Israel, because she was a prophetess. And we know a prophet and a prophetess of the Most High is not speaking. It is the spirit of the Most High through them that is speaking. That's who you're being in subjection to. Okay. So just be careful. Also, another motive could be is to keep you into false doctrines of man and Satan. So what I'm saying to you is that when you go on to these other books, including the Cipher, please keep your King James 611 by your side and compare, because that is your foundation. You cannot go wrong. And when you don't understand something, my people, ask the Father in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and he shall give you understanding at his appointed time. So I'm going to close out with this prayer. I plead the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach upon this video and the website links and other links listed in the video description box. Yahuwah, I ask you to inflict an evil judgment upon anyone who tries to stop this word and truth from going to the four corners of the earth until they repent and do what is right in the sight of your eyes. Also, Father, I pray to give your children understanding of your word and of this video, and that they will have a heart to seek you. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it. So my people, continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation and baptism in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, for this is the season of Christ to return. Please seek Yahuwah with your whole heart. Read Luke chapter 11, verse 9 to 13. For the kingdom of heaven is truly at hand, for we are in the 7th day of Adam. Read 2 Ezra chapter 7. And the 7th day of Adam is one of the years in the 7th day of Adam is 2017 AD. Remember, a day unto Yahuwah is 1,000 years, as read in the book of 2 Peter's, I believe. So we are in the 7th day, and this year, as of now, is the year 2017 AD. And so far, what the Most High has shown me, we are in the year of 7,485. And when you convert that to Beta Israel time, you get 7,088. And when you convert that to the Jewish people time, you get 5,777. And the reason why their year is lower than that, because they don't believe in Christ. So that's why they're about 2,000 year difference. Also, check out the prophecy of Dan pertaining to these last days. That video will be in the description box. For now, you will get the understanding how I was able to get Beta Israel year. I love you all, and Shalom.